excuse me. I'm still not 100% well. But a subscriber asked about book listing yesterday or the day before, so I said I'd make a video about that rather than like a scripted video. I've been having a lot of fun just flying off the cuff with these live videos. So I wanted to make a video around a book listing, but not just the, you know, self-improvement, which is like what I'm, you know, what I'm really into. Is, you know, there are some generic like books that get passed around. You'll hear stuff like, oh, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. What about the real juicy stuff, you know? If you ever get those books where like you pick up, some are like, you feel like they're beating around the bush a little bit and you're just constantly reading on trying to find like the point or like the punchline, and you never really get there. Like there's a lot of fucking fluff and like, you know, filler. And then you get those books that are like you read like half a page in, you're like, this is gonna be fucking good. So like I wanted to do a book listing around those sorts of books. A lot of the books that I've read in the last 6 months, really, the ones, you know, these are the books that I've read over the last 6 months. Some you might have heard of and some you might have not. So the first one I want to talk about is Estrogeneration by Dr. Anthony G.J. Now, he is a doctor, obviously, as the name suggests. Someone asked the other day in a live, where, you know, what's happened with the men like in this day and age. What is going on in the men, you know, with men in this generation, you know, saying how fucked up shit is. This book is probably like a really good place to start. Like for me, I don't know, like I don't know what your conspiracy. I don't know. I don't want to be like that guy. Do you know what I mean? But like around 25 years ago, I can remember this time when doctors were warning everyone about cholesterol, and you know, my dad was really overweight. My dad was like 24 stone. I don't know what that is in pounds, but it's fucking heavy. And he was a fat dude. Like I'm not gonna take that away. But it was that time that my dad got told, oh, you know, you need to watch your cholesterol. You can't be eating too much fat and this and that. But fat is actually, and cholesterol, like the precursors for making testosterone. A lot of things, but listen, you need to read this fucking book, because if you're not like on a low carb or no carb diet, if you read this book, you will be. And I feel like the you know, you can get a good grip on what is happening in terms of like gender and you know, people talking about men getting feminized like over a period of time. Nature, what's going on? Hi, Brendan. No, I don't. I've got a fiance, Brendan. Sorry to let you down. Mr. Kyle, you're right, buddy. How are you? Book listing. Yeah, so this book will tell you about the effects of having too much carbs in your system, what it does to your testosterone. Yeah, I'll give you a little read on the back. Along with many other groundbreaking ideas, you will learn the top 10 list of everyday estrogenics. It'll be stuff, you know, you'll find out about stuff like sun cream, stuff like that. You know, what we're putting topically on the skin, not just inside of our bodies, but, excuse me, like sun cream is a big one. Yeah, cutting edge weight loss strategies, new muscle mass building discoveries, how estrogenics feminize males, how estrogenics harm children, 3 detailed estrogenic avoidance plans, specific food, water, estrogenic numbers, simple, clear language and definitions, the US and EU legislation, legal status of estrogenics. The European state is actually a lot better than America's laws on foods and what they you know, America lets a lot of shit get put into the food. Like Europe is it's a little bit better, but it's not fucking perfect. That is for sure. Um, yeah, amazing fishing tale chapter openers, whatever that means. An actionable appendix. Basically, later on in this book, it gives you like a plan, depending on like what your how much you're willing to invest into taking care of your fucking natural testosterone, basically. You know, cleaning up your water supply as much as possible, cleaning up your diet, only eating like grass-fed meat wherever possible, having basically, ideally, like a carnivore diet, at very least like a low carb, you know, so a lot of fucking fatty meat, all the good shit like that you really want to eat all the time, like red meat, steak, cheese. Mr. Kyle, he knows his shit, obviously. Weed killers, birth control in the water doesn't help either. 100%. This book is really good. Like, if you have an interest in that and you want to see how deep it goes. Yeah, Estro Generation by Dr. Anthony G.J. The next book that I've read in the last 6 months is by Rick Rubin, and it's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. A really good book. Obviously, Rick Rubin is, you know, famous hip hop producer. He's worked with loads of fucking people, but the time I knew of Rick Rubin first was, I think he worked with like Run DMC. I think he produced the Run DMC Aerosmith Walk This Way song. But like, he's a fucking legend. He's got his own podcast and stuff on YouTube now, but he's kind of like, he's a real like thinker, do you know what I mean? A real like forward thinker. This book is basically talks music and stuff like that. After I read this book, I felt like blockages had been removed, because just the ways that he explains things are really good. Like, I always struggle to like finish projects and stuff like that. So like, I go through some of these books, and when I find like a gem, I'll like mark it. One of the gems that I marked in this book was Small Steps to create movement for a musician who was blocked. We offered him a small time. He was able to reopen the creative channel and eventually began composing entire songs again. This happened much more quickly than expected. The thing is that this transfers into, my sound's dropping out. Sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. Hi, Macy. Yeah, the thing is that this transfers into everything, right? Anything that you want to achieve, anything that seems insurmountable, if you can just chip away at it, you know, it becomes a lot more easier to deal with if you're biting things down into like manageable chunks. So like, if you are creative, I highly recommend this book. It's kind of like, it feels like a Buddhist's book about being creative. That's what it feels like. How do you eat a whale? I don't know. Yeah, I get it. What is it? Okay, Macy, I'll see you soon. That's my fiance. She's gone to the dentist. The third book I want to talk about, and I've got a few more to go, one bite at a time, is 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. This is a concise version. I heard about this book. This is like a famous book. Like a lot of people, and I think this book was banned for a little while. Like I know that they banned it in some American prisons because inmates started reading it and using it. Okay, Macy's not coming home. She's coming to the gym. I'll meet you there, baby. Um. So yeah, they banned this book in prisons because the inmates started using it and were, using it to overpower other inmates and gangs and stuff like that. And I think America banned it for a while. To be honest, I heard about this book and people were like, oh, it's super dark and like it gets really fucking dark and this and that. You know, I, I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was like, if you know that people manipulate other people to do things, I didn't really find it that like mind blowing. I just, you know, it's decent and there's stuff in there that I have found very useful. And there's stuff around people that I've studied, like other YouTubers and stuff like that. And you sort of can put two and two together. When I've heard that some people like have recommended this book and I've seen what they do, and I can like put two and two together and see why it's useful, you know. But as an all round like book to like swear by, it's not necessarily necessary. But it is a fucking good book. So I do recommend that you get it. Some of the laws on the back, yeah, it says in the synopsis or whatever it's called, how to get to the top and stay there. The 48 timeless and definitive laws of power. Law number 1, never outshine the master. Law number 2, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Law number 3, conceal your intentions. Law number 4, say less than necessary. Love that. Yeah, teaches you how to cheat, dissemble, feign, fight, and advance your cause in the modern world. And that was by the Independent on Sunday. A good book. Definitely worth a read. This one is one that I've just started reading, and it is The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannell. They've obviously, The Secret, the guys who wrote The Secret have fucking got hold of it. The book is nothing to do with The Secret. They've just put their cover on it for some reason. But this is kind of like, it is around like, law of attraction kinds of stuff. It's a good book from what I've gathered so far. And it's funny because it kind of massaged my ego, because some of the stuff that I've mentioned in the last couple of videos, like I was talking about the other day about being a service and, doing stuff for other people and how my life has changed and how, better I feel, more fulfilling it is to live life along those lines. And like I got a couple chapters in, and it's basically just reaffirmed. This book's, I'm sure it's well over 100 years old. Do you know what I mean? So it massaged my ego to know that I'm learning things out on my own that were written down about and preached in a way 100 years ago. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. I'm not a genius. I'm just wherever I draw my inspiration and energy and fucking knowledge from is the same place where everyone else gets it from, right? But this is a good book so far. I mean, I can't give you too much on it, but it talks about going into the silence, meditating, being still. On the back, The Master Key System is a personal development book by Charles F. Hannell that was originally published as a correspondence course in 1912. Yeah, it was first published as a book in 1916 by Psychology Publishing, St. Louis, and the Master Key Institute, New York. Along with The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, the Master Key System is the source of Rhonda Byrne's inspiration for the book and the film The Secret. There you go. Charles F. Hannell was an American author, millionaire, entrepreneur, and businessman who belonged to several Masonic societies: the American Scientific League, the Authors League of America, the American Society of physical research, sorry, psychical research, and St. Louis Humane Society and the St. Louis Chamber of Commerce. So he was obviously, you know, an affluent guy, and he was a fucking mason. So you know, I would imagine they knew some stuff. Yeah. Next book, still along the kind of spiritual knowledge books and books that have like been banned and stuff. The Kabbalion by the Three Initiates. This book is basically about, or teaches some of the teachings from Hermes Trismegistus, which is the ancient, one of the ancient Egyptians, and it teaches about, you know, the Hermetic philosophy and the 7 Hermetic principles. I made a video about this before on the channel, but it's interesting stuff. So the laws by which the universe is governed, basically, it talks about the all in all being mind, which is basically, it gets a bit fucking ropey, but it says the first Hermetic principle is the universe is mental, basically. So we are kind of operating inside of like the mind of God, if you will. And so our creative power is likened to that. We have the same creative power as the all which we are in. It's kind of fucking confusing. I'm confusing myself. Alvin Stenroos, what's going on, brother? But yeah, this book is really fucking good. It talks about the law, you know, the different laws that govern the universe. Mentalism. Maitland asserts that consciousness is the indispensable condition of existence. Matter is itself merely a mode of consciousness. The law of correspondence, the law of vibration, which is what the, you know, the law of attraction comes from. The law of polarity, the law of rhythm, the law of cause and effect. You've probably heard that one before. And the law of gender, which basically states that everything has its male and female properties. It doesn't matter if it's obviously not just talking about, you know, gender or gender roles. I'm talking about like creative processes like cells, even, you know, down to fucking molecular level. You know, cells have male and female properties. So it basically talks about these 7 principles and how they manifest in the universe and life itself and make up everything and help govern everything. Really fucking good book. And it's not too long either, to be honest. Pretty short book. But this is definitely a book that like will make you think. Another still a book along the similar sort of lines is The Science of Being by Eugene Fersen. Now, this book, I feel like, right, a lot of these books, they're all along the same kind of lines. I'd love to know like the timeline of this book compared with the others, because this is definitely an old book as well. Let me read some of the back. Science of Being. Know thyself, and thou shalt know all. During the course of my quest for the true nature of reality and our own place and meaning within that reality over the last 40 years or so, much invaluable inner knowledge, wisdom, and truth has been opened to me through numerous and diverse sources, and which I have since been blessed to share with readers of my books, newsletters, and websites. Okay, it's probably not that old then. When I recently discovered and started reading Science of Being by the Baron Eugene Fersen, originally made available to a few people in the form of a series of 27 individual lessons, I knew at once that these are no ordinary texts. It very soon became apparent to me, in fact, that Science of Being in 27 lessons is an extremely profound and important collection of teachings, and without doubt some of the very greatest I've ever seen in my most recent matters. The Science of Being is not only one of the very first texts on the law of attraction ever written, if not the first. It is, in my view, one of the most profound and important texts ever written in absolute terms, written by a true light bearer for humanity, whose teachings reach far beyond the law of attraction to encompass many other fundamental and immutable universal principles. So yeah, he talks about the universal life energy, basically, which is, you know, you could call it God, you could call it spirituality, you could call it the fucking law of attraction, like whatever you want to call it. They all kind of say the same kind of things, just in a different way. He calls God universal life energy. So yeah, he talks about, you know, connecting. Let me find a fucking portion of the book and just read a portion of it so you can sort of get an idea. I'm gonna just go fly completely blind. Exercises to lesson 12. So this is at the end of every chapter, right? There's a lesson of shit that you actually can do and apply into your life. It says continue as always, morning and evening and night. The star exercise, relaxation, silence, contact, and concentration. I was basically talking about meditating in a certain position, making contact with that universal life energy. Through practice of them, and prepare yourself for the effective performance of the new exercise for this week, which is called thought projection. In order to accomplish thought projection, proceed as follows. After you have entered into silence and made the contact with universal life energy, concentrate your mind upon a certain object, preferably one of a simple and substantial nature. When you have succeeded in obtaining a clear and vivid mental image of that object, inhale slowly and deeply to the full capacity of your lungs. This inhalation should gather in it the harmonious and rhythmic momentum of your own collected inner forces, which reach the height of their power when it reaches its climax also. Then exhale quickly and project your mental concept into space, winged with the charge of energy which you have rallied for that purpose. After you have done that, do not think any longer about it, because further thought can have no influence on what you have sent out, one way or the other. So, yeah, that is basically talking about projecting an image and sending it out. Um, what's his name? Neville Goddard talks about that as well. Letting go, releasing the image. Something a bit more less out of this worldy is Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday. This guy is called the Daily Stoic online. He's got like a huge following. All he does basically is he looks at old Stoic philosophers and copies or bites all of their shit and puts it into a book and makes you think, oh wow, that's really fucking cool. But yeah, it's just old philosophy that's been put into a fucking book, basically. He's just found all these old sources and just shares it with the world. And people think that he has a way of living that is new, but it's been done before, right? But still, I don't want to take anything away from him or mug him off in any way. Like, I like what he does, and I relate a lot to Stoic philosophy, and I feel like a lot of people do. Like the old ways of thinking. Awesome. He's good. The old ways of thinking, you know, they're so much more like advanced than like what we have right now in modern times. Like the way that things used to be done. Who was it? It says like, I swear it's I can't remember what the fucking saying is. Now I sound really dumb. Something about you know, the most complex things being really fucking simple. Something along those lines. And I feel like we have a lot to learn from that. I find like the more that okay, baby's just sent me a message. Marcus Aurelius is hard to read, so having someone modernizing helps. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But yeah, well worth a read as well. If you're like, you know, yeah, I don't know what the kind of style of books that I tend to go for are shit like, you know, like old worldy, like real knowledge or like banned books. I hate what you are. Fake gospel, you know nothing. Thanks, Joshua. Happy Saturday to you too. You're a fucking ray of sunshine. I'm not claiming to know anything. I'm just sharing a list of books that I've been reading over the last 6 months. Um, cool. Yeah. don't really know what to say, what to say to that. Um, yeah, Ryan Holiday is good. A lot of people, you know, look to him for these kinds of things. So, last book that I want to talk about is Self Reliance, which is kind of a famous book by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He's written some other stuff, and it's got other essays in there. The thing is that he's talking about relying on yourself, but he's really talking about trusting your intuition. It says on the back, trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string, except the place the divine providence has found for you, the society of your contemporaries, the connection of events. Great men have always done so and confided themselves childlike to the genius of their age, betraying their perception that the absolutely trustworthy was seated at their heart, working through their hands, predominating in all their being. So, you know, some people that I know, they say don't operate on self-will. You know, um, I know some like really spiritual people. I don't see, you know, really spiritual people, like not more spiritually developed or capable than a normal person, but people that fucking meditate every day, people that pray every day. I know these kinds of people, and they say, you know, about acting on self will and how destructive it is. But to understand that, you know, you have that power of intuition working for you and using that to your advantage, there's a kind of, you know, we have free will, right? So not necessarily acting on self will, what your self and what your selfish wants are. That's not a good thing. But you know, trusting that intuition and understanding that there is a power in you that we all fucking have and we all have access to is very cool. And that's what this book's all about for me. I am not feeling too well, so that was pretty short, but thanks a lot for watching. This video was inspired by Mr. Kyle, who's in the chat, so thanks very much for getting in contact and leaving that comment and helping to inspire me as well. So yeah, it's fucking cool. If I'm not back online, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys soon.